Welcome to the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the essence of culture, our experiences, and a healing journey that shapes our growth in family. Through heartfelt stories about marriage, mental health, relationships, and parenting, we create a space where you can find connection, understanding, and inspiration. Join us as we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Roots and Rhythm, where we explore the rhythms of life, one beat at a time. It's your boy, Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach, and I am with my lovely co-host, none other than...
Angie, la cyber mommy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hey, yo, Angie, how's your week?
Our week has been good. Wallace has been gone, but what's new? Just me and the girls. Aria's new favorite thing to tell me is, Mama, I'm sad and mad. Why is she sad and mad? Because she misses Papi, and Papi's gone. Yeah, I just think she likes those words because they rhyme. I'm sad and mad.
I'm sad and mad.
Green eggs and ham. I'm sad and mad.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's going to be back tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Right in time for Lana's graduation.
I know.
Wild. You're going to have a kid going to real school.
Real school. I'm going to feel rich.
You get some money back.
I'm going to feel rich is what I'm going to feel.
You get some money back. Now, that begs the question. That's actually a great segue into our topic for today, which is finances, right? How do finances find their way into our lives? And also, what is a rich tapestry in the history of finances or lack thereof in our families? And how have we made new or kept some old attitudes about money? And what does that look like for our future, right?
Yeah. I know one thing that we're going to do with this newfound money in our bank account is pay down this car debt. So we had to get a new car in December. Our car broke down. We haven't had a car payment since 2015 because we bought our Chevy Equinox, paid it off in the year, then didn't have a car payment. The most freeing thing is not having a car payment. The best car you can have is a paid off car. I don't know how to handle this car payment situation. So literally we're going to pretend that we're still paying daycare, but sending that money to our car so we can not have a car loan because it's a ghetto. I hate it.
That takes discipline. But imagine all the money you're going to have back. Yeah. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, I can and I can't because the tears are real, right? With Lito or with Alana graduating to even think about Lito graduating.
I know.
I got to do the Vince McMahon on it. But, dude, that's like a whole mortgage payment each month that you're going to get back.
Yep,
yeah,
going to the car, yep.
So then what happens after you pay that car off? Right?
Then we're saving for, we want to redo the basement or finish the basement. Our basement is unfinished. It looks very scary down there. But I want to finish it so then the girls can have like a play area.
Yeah, it look that scary.
It's not right. It's not like dirt floor scary, like basements that are really unfinished. I would say it's like half finished. It's not livable.
Right.
It's wires and
it's a lot bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, it's huge down there. But again, it's not livable. Like I wouldn't have the girls down there playing right now. It's like exposed wires and things like that. So it's like storage, laundry. That's pretty much what it is. Storage and laundry. I want to finish it so it could be like a livable space or at least a comfortable space that people can go down their vibe. The girls can have like a bigger place to play. And then in the winter, I usually put their bounce house when it's snowing in the sunroom, but I put it in the basement. Yeah, the big inflatable one. So I could burn that energy in the winter. So I'd put it in the basement when it's finished.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, man, that's great. So we've been blessed. So the last two houses we've had have had finished basements. But to be honest with you, and we could look this up, there are so many people in America who have basements that are finished and don't even use them. We were one of those people.
Oh, really?
You saw it was in Lowell. In Lowell, I had the little storage closet that I made my studio. And then there was a whole rest of a basement that we didn't use.
And you know what's funny? I don't think I went in your basement in the little house. Probably because y'all didn't go down there to use it. But if it was finished, it's like I just put people in the basement.
Bro, there were cobwebs everywhere. When mice thought they could play with me, that's where they were playing until I stopped playing. The other day, my tenant sent me a picture saying that of a mouse in a glue trap, the ones that I had. I'm like, you're welcome.
Dang.
You're welcome, because you don't have to, like, if you're catching mice, I don't want them to get upstairs. Why? So if they're dying, we're trying.
Yeah. I've luckily never seen a live mouse in our current house. When we first moved in, we found a dead one in the basement. And that's when I was like, pest control. Call it back. And then they found like a lot of holes in the basement. So they like patched them up and stuff and then we had the house re-insulated. So then that
The whole house?
Yeah, because it wasn't, we had zero insulation. So we used Mass Save This is not sponsored, but Mass Saves came. They came and redid the house, and it was like fairly cheap to do the whole house because it was like that program or whatever. We bought the house. We had to wait like a year, I think, and then they came and did it. But yeah, there was zero insulation, so that helped a lot. But yeah, I just want to finish the basement, so that's like the next big project is doing that, and then eventually, I know you want to add on to your house. I also want to add on to our house at least like another room and a bathroom. Because this one bathroom life is ghetto. Because it's an older house.
We had 1.5 bathroom. Well, actually, no, we only had one bathroom in Lowell, believe it or not. And we put in a new bathroom before we left. And I remember saying to myself, there was only one reason why we're doing it. Number one, Lito came if one of us needed to go to the bathroom, then we could hook that up. But also, it was more of a money move, right? So we could add value to the house. I think it's like if you add a bathroom, if you add like a 3/4 bathroom or at least a bathroom with a shower in it, or even a half bathroom, I think it's like 5% of what the house's value is.
Especially up here, because a lot of houses don't have central air and don't have another bathroom. That's like new. In Florida, all houses have 2 bathrooms and they all have central air. I don't know. I've never gone to someone's house, I'm not talking an apartment, a house in Florida that only has 1 bathroom. That's some New England crap that I learned about when I moved here. It's ridiculous.
You know what it is, though? Because in New England, everybody is jockeying for position here. There is a lot of people there are a lot of people looking for homes. There are not a lot of inventory out there, and the inventory that is there, girl, I mean, you seen how it is. It's crazy.
And the houses are older.
Yeah, and you pay like $900,000 for the dugout. Right? So it's incumbent on us to be smart about our money, depending on where we live, but also understanding how money works and how savings work, how investments work. That is crucial to building generational wealth. That is not something that was discussed often in my family. My mom is the only reason why I know anything about credit, I know anything about saving, that I know anything about investment. So I took what my mom gave me and I took it a step further, got more financial literacy. But the average person, though, like the average family, they don't really have that literacy.
Oh, I know. I feel like we've talked about this before, that what was the statistic, Vlad? Like only 50% or 50-some% of U.S. Americans have $1,000 like liquid that they can use for an emergency. And that's ridiculous.
That's not a lot of money.
That's not a lot of money. And it's crazy.
Wondering.
No, and it's crazy because
that's a little insider we had when we were recording an episode previously. And we were looking at it, and Angie was like, yo, that's a lot of money.
It was making me hot, and it's not even my situation, but it's like, emergencies happen all the time. And I think I shared this before too in another episode that we're re-recording, how I was on a work trip and then I get a notification that Wallace spent $1,700, and I'm like, okay. So I called him and he's like that the water heater went out. So obviously replace it. We live in an older house, so things are bound to break eventually, right? Or soon enough. But yeah, we didn't have to worry about that because we had the money. But imagine if we didn't, and I'm gone and he's spending all the money, and so it's like, having a nest egg or an emergency fund, it's crucial because it's going to prevent those fights. And then you're not in the heat of the moment stressed out and then bringing that home. It's like, life is hard enough. Like, why are we going to stress about money when you can plan or try to plan ahead and, save for the things that are bound to happen, especially when you're a homeowner?
And how important do you think finances are to a couple's vitality, right? Like how important do you think being on the same page about finances and about expenses and about what the goal and nature of money is in the family? How important do you think that is to?
I think it's crucial because you can't move forward if you don't have like that stability. It's like you're going to sleep worried about extra things, and I'm already a worrier, so I'm worried about things that I can and can't control. So imagine if I had another stressor in my life of something that we could have prevented if we would have just been smart and kind of planned ahead. So something that Wallace and I did, for example, before we had the kids, we took Financial Peace, which is a Dave Ramsey program. And I'm very anti Dave Ramsey, like a lot of his teachings, but the core of it is you have to have an emergency fund.
Right.
And his emergency fund was like, save only $1,000 and then pay off all your debt. $1,000 is not a lot of money. So even not today. So Wallace and I did that program kind of, sort of. So we saved up $5,000 and then paid down all our debt, but we were still saving like for our house. So we had like that emergency fund, but then we had like buckets where we would put other money. So the $5,000 is something that we didn't touch. We were paying down our debt, and then we had another bucket where we were saving for our house. So we saved. We moved out of our apartment. We had a a 2-2. We moved out of our Lowell apartment and we moved into a basement unit. So pretty much a studio because it was me, Wallace, and Lily, our dog. So I was like, we didn't need a lot of space. Wallace was gone half the year anyway. So we lived there from 2018 till 2021 when we bought our house. So all we were doing during that time is stacking money. Our rent was $600.
What?
Studio.
$600.
Shout out to Lillian in Nashua. We lived in Nashua.
Right.
So we were paying $600 and then like a third of the lights and stuff because it was like the lights were part of the basement or whatever. But yeah, and we lived there 3 years. Anna was actually born while we were living there. Because you know her birth story, she was our little miracle surprise. To the point where as soon as she was born, I'm like, we gotta get out of the basement. Wallace, get me out of this basement. Wallace, we gotta go. And that was December 2019.
So what was Wallace's? Was Wallace on board the entire time, or when you guys?
No,
moved
we
into
were
the
we
basement?
were on board to move into the basement to save money. We were
Right.
definitely on board. Now, when Alana came, I was more so like, get me out of here. I have a baby now. I don't want to be in the basement. But Wallace was like, no, Angie, we have a goal. Like, we have a goal. We have to stay here. She doesn't need a lot of space. She's just a baby. And I was like, no, we got to get out of here. My baby's in the basement. I don't want my baby in the basement. She doesn't even have like her own room. Like, she's like literally in the room with us. And I'm very grateful that I did listen to Wallace because all of me wanted to be like, bump Wallace. I'm finna go get this house for me and my baby. You coming or not? But Wallace made some good points and I was very emotional. So I was like, let me calm down. I was like, okay, Wallace, fine. We'll wait. What happened 3 months later, Vlad? A global pandemic.
Oh,
Wallace didn't
come
work
on.
for 16 months.
Damn.
He was just home with me. I was working from home. I used to go in the office 3 days and 2 days at home. They made us fully remote. We were just there. There was no daycare. Anna was just home with us. Wallace was our stay-at-home daddy, and I was working. And thank God we didn't get a house, Vlad. We would have had to like sell it, give it back. I don't even know what happens, right? But thankfully, because Wallace didn't work for 16 months, when we did eventually buy a house, we could only use my income. So if there's another global pandemic, we're not going to have to like give up the house. Like we can handle it if it's only one income because Wallace didn't make any money during the pandemic because he's an independent
That means you guys live within your means.
super within our means.
That sounds like a radical thing to do.
Yeah. And it was very hard because I like to host. I love to have people at my house. And when I was in the basement, we couldn't have people over there. I mean, we could have, and some people did come, but it wasn't like a big party. Like I could have one person over at a time, maybe a little bit more, but it was very cramped, So we'd like go places instead of having people at our house because we were, living the way we were living, trying to sacrifice now for later.
I think that's a great story to share, right? Because as you were talking, I was looking up the statistics. I'm like, I wonder how many people live beyond their means. My mom always had a quote. She said, I almost forgot how to say it. But basically, it's like, it translates as don't extend your arm beyond where your hand can reach. And just a really quick stat on American families, anywhere between 26 to 67% of American families live beyond their means.
I'm sweating.
Which means if their cap is like $2,000 in income each month, they're paying for like a $4,000, $500,000 mortgage. And to your point about Dave Ramsey, in these days, it is increasingly difficult to afford housing. If you're looking at saying like you can't take any more than 30% of your take-home income to spend on housing expenses, it's kind of hard.
It is hard.
Just like in real estate, there's a 1% rule. Have you heard of one that for your return? Yeah, the 1% room for your into returns, or the 10% rule. It's just.
Yeah, it's hard, especially
if you're in Boston.
Especially when you're up here, Massachusetts, taxes are going to take it. Also, like the cost of food these days. My grocery bill, ridiculous. Every 5 minutes, these kids want a snack. And they don't want just like cheese. No, they want all the berries. And I'm not an outdoor girl.
That's not a bad thing, bro.
No, it's great. And I'm going to buy it for them, obviously. And I'm not an outdoor girl because people are like, oh, just grow your own fruit. Who's gonna go outside and grow berries? Not me.
You don't want to pick berries in the fields.
I do not want to pick berries. But the thing is, it's like, oh, you have a yard, and I'm like, I don't know why I got a house with a yard. I got it honestly for my dog, R.I.P. And we don't even go outside. The girls like to go to parks. You know?
I mean, listen. I think it's reasonable to cut costs in corners, not corners, but to cut costs where it's reasonable
and where you can. Mm-hmm.
And it's honestly not that hard to live within your means if you and your partner agree on the terms. And I think that's where a lot of people falter, that 27 to 25 to 67% of people, whatever the statistic was. So what are your attitudes with money now with Wallace? And you mentioned that water heater story, right?
Yeah, so the water heater. So that was like an emergency. So Wallace and I do a monthly budget. So when he gets back, we'll do our next month's budget because the next month's starting. I don't know when we're posting this, but the next month's starting next week. So we're going to do our budget. And it's pretty much anything that we know that's coming out, anything that we expect that might come out, and then our regular expenses that never change. Another thing that I do is Amazon be adding up. So I took Amazon off my phone because I feel like they're all impulse buys. When I'm just late at night, I'm just like, let me go to Amazon. Oh, I need this. No, you don't. I don't really need that.
No, you don't.
Off my phone. Off my phone. I took Pinterest off my phone. Etsy. I used to buy random crap on Etsy. Like, oh, somebody sells birthdays coming up. They just need a birthday text, Ange. They don't need no gifts. People got enough stuff.
I be telling Julie that all the time. I'm like, listen, all these kids, well, actually, we decided on her side of the family anyway, because they're big into gift giving. We don't really do gifts on our side, but at some point we decided we can't be giving each other gifts every Christmas, every birthday, giving the kids each other gifts every birthday. We're gonna go bankrupt.
Vlad, who you telling? There's 6 of us in my family.
Six
bro. Siblings, 6 spouses, the mama, the daddy, the stepdaddy, the other mama, the 2 grandmas. It's a lot of people. So we do Secret Santa. So everyone gets one gift. And then even with the kids, it's like we also do Secret Santa with the kids. Like, I got your kid, you got my kid, this one got the other kid. So it's like even the kids are doing it because kids don't got no money. So it's like the parents pick a kid, right?
Wait, can you put some accent on it? They don't have no money.
They don't got no money. The kids don't got no job. They don't got no money. They're not employees. So that's what we do to save money. And granted, there's some people that got it and they want to spend it, and I ain't gonna go in your pocket. If you want to buy my kid something, do it. I'm gonna suggest what I think you should buy because it's more of a need. Like, oh, my kid needs a new sweater or whatever, right? And I'm gonna end up buying it. But if you really want to get them something they need versus like another stuffy that they're gonna have. Alana has too many doggone stuffies on her bed. Okay,
What,
like stuffed animals. Stuffies.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a brand.
No. Stuffed animals, unicorns. It's like when a kid loves something, everybody buys it. Alana has mad unicorns, mad cats. She loves cats, so everybody is like, oh, she likes cats. Here's a cat stuffed animal. He don't even play with them no more. That's what I'm saying. It's like these kids are fickle. Okay, it's like they need a jacket. They need winter boots. So let's get the things that they need, right? So I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. So if I already told you and you just decide because you uncle number one and you want to get them stuff, cool. But it's not like expected. It's not expected. So yeah, that we do Secret Santa. That's another way that we try to save money.
I mean, and you guys have to, right? Because you're up here. You're not from where you guys grew up at, right? You're, like we're the family you've chosen.
Yep.
And we can't be more blessed for that. But like we all support each other. So it's not like you have unlimited resources to tap into. And you got to make it work because obviously Wallace has his job, you have yours, and the dynamics of those jobs are different. And so how do couples come to that consensus when it comes to building a life together? One thing that Julie and I had discussed early on, and it was hard. I fought this a little bit. She wanted to combine finances, and I was like, I don't know.
Hold on. Taboo topic. So you guys aren't combined?
Oh, no, we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We are too. And I see this 2 ways. So Wallace and I got together when we were both young and didn't have nothing. So it was easier for us to combine 0 and 0 because it's like, who cares, right?
0, 0, 0, right?
0, 0, 0 we'll build together because we've been together. Again, I met Wallace when he wasn't even 18 yet. And I share this story a lot. I taught Wallace how to write a check because he didn't know how to write a check.
Get out of town for real.
He signed the back of his check to give to the school. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, writing a check. I'm like, no, you just wrote yourself a check.
Damn.
But again, he was a baby.
Same thing.
But then trauma, right? Because then I'm like, you never helped your parents write checks? And he's like, no. I used to do all the checks for my dad.
No, that you do realize that's like a
It's a foreigner thing.
Yeah.
Like literally. So my dad has dementia, so he obviously doesn't remember none of this, but my mom could attest. He still had, before he, stopped writing his own checks, he still had the little paper with my first grade handwriting with all like how to write all the numbers in case I wasn't around. So he's like, he could write his own check if I was at school, So it's like, I used to do that. So I'm thinking that's normal kid behavior. Like, you're not writing your checks for your parents? Weird. You don't help your parents? I was like, no.
Listen, man. When the parents come home with these forms, these government forms, and they're asking you to become a data analyst.
You don't understand this? Why do you even go to school? You don't know what a tax exemption is? How dare you?
Mom, I only learned how to cross the street last week.
Where was I going with this?
Yeah. Well, you were talking about how you taught Wallace how to write checks. Oh,
yeah.
combined finances.
Yeah, so we combine finances, but then I get it. Like if you meet someone after a certain age, you're already an adult. So you already you're established. You have your own stuff. You might bring a kid into the new relationship. So it's harder to decide to combine finances when you're already established or you have your own business. Like before you met the person. So I think that's where it gets tricky. Maybe have like a business account for your business or another account for your kid if it's not from that marriage.
So you and Wallace have
everything is together.
Accounts. So you don't have any separate accounts?
No,
whatsoever.
nothing.
All right, so we actually do. They're not many. I have a few accounts on my name, but they're not really on purpose, right? So, for example, we have one account with one bank, like a credit union, that was from around where I lived in Everett.
But that was before you met her.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything Wallace and I have is together because we met at a time where, we were living in sin. So maybe we shouldn't have combined that early, but we did. And then we ended up getting married and we're still together. But because we were so young and starting out, that's why everything's been together from the beginning. Yeah. Like, I think the only account that I had separate that it's been closed is the one the school gives you for like financial aid and stuff. You know what I mean? But that's like because it had to be separate. Like everything after that has been together.
Even though those accounts that I have on my name are separate, Julie still has access. So one of the accounts, like that one I told you I had before I met her, and that's the one that we use for our investment property. So Julie knows how much money is in there because we have, like, she has to know how much money is in there. Same thing with our DCU account. It's under my name. There's a business under my name. But again, you have access to it. Because I ain't got nothing to hide. I think I push back gently on that premise that you always got to have a separate account.
Oh, my mom is still upset that I don't have a separate account. But I think it's from her past. Like when her and my dad separated, she had to kind of like make her own money and kind of get out of that situation. So she's like, you never know. Like, I thought your dad and me were forever. And look, so it's like, well, don't put that on me. Don't project, Wallace ain't my daddy. Okay. Like Wallace is Wallace and he would never. And I know people say that all the time. Like, I also didn't think he would never. And he did. But again, don't project.
There's something to be said, right, about how fear drives finances. And I'll give you the story. One of the most influential stories around finances has been my aunt. I told you about my aunt in Cambridge.
Yeah.
Right? So Tata Agleen, once upon a time, when my parents came here, it goes, my dad's family came here first, and then as one by one they came over, then they sent for my mom. And so they had this house in Cambridge, right behind Central Square, or it's in Central Square basically, but right behind Central Square and down the street from Harvard MIT. That house today would have been worth a lot of money. I'm going to get exactly how much money.
No, we looked it up before. It was almost $6 million.
Oh, yeah. $6 million.
And how much did they buy it for in the 70s?
Bro, they bought this house for $30,000. Try to get through this without my blood pressure going.
I know. It's hard.
So check this out. My aunt and my uncle, brother and sister, they buy this house together. And the understanding is, because my aunt don't know anything about real estate, he's like, listen, I know, like, my uncle's a handyman, so he's like, I'll handle the repairs, I'll do this, I'll do that. And I don't really know what my aunt's expectations were in terms of roles, but she thought my uncle was always going to be there to help run things. And then my uncle gets up one day and he's like, you know what? I want to go buy my own house, so see you later. So now my aunt is in this house with my grandmother, her mom, her brother, her sister, my dad, another brother. Like, everybody at one point lived at that house. And what she was doing at first was when they would try to pay her rent, she would get her money back and say, nah, you got to take care of yourself. She was being really nice, forward thinking, right? You might want to start a family. You might want to start a business. You don't have to pay me full market rent. Just give me what you have and I'll give you some more back. But you have to know who you're showing grace to, because people don't always know where to put your grace. And so, as history would show, they didn't know where to put my aunt's grace. So they eventually went from giving her some rent to giving her no rent. And my uncle now is gone. Now my aunt's stuck with this enormous house that she's trying to fix. When my mom left my dad and we all moved out, my aunt looks to my dad and says, hey, you have one of the bigger apartments. So the two, it's a 4-family house. The 2 innermost apartments have 2 floors. They each have like 5 bedrooms in them. We're talking about big money apartments. One of them is housing all of my dad's alive siblings, and now my dad's in this big old apartment and this is an older house. It was like I think it was like an 1804. Like, basically this house was built around the time that our ancestors were getting their independence.
The freedom,
Like that's how crazy
it could have been Haitian Independence House.
It could have been a Haitian Independence House, right?
Oh, Lord.
So Tataga looks at my father and says, why don't you move into the other apartment? Because the outermost apartments were the first floor apartments, had maybe like 2 bedrooms in them. And we had 2 tenants, and both tenants eventually got up and left. but they never replaced the tenants.
Mhm.
And so my aunt's seeing the value of the house going down, houses in the neighborhood again built up. This house is falling apart, right? We had a halfway house across the street, and dudes would smoke. They throw their buds on there. Like I remember coming home from school, because I used to go to my aunt's house after school until my parents came home, and I'd have to climb over these people waiting for the shelter to open. So clearly people will treat your house as they see it.
Yes.
And if it looks like crap, they're
Mhm.
going to treat it like crap. So
Mhm.
she's like, why don't you just move into the other apartment and let me renovate this house?
Mm.
My father refused. He's like, nah, this is my house. He had it. So there was some,
It's my house, but I ain't gonna do nothing to upkeep it.
my mom one day, while they were living together, was like, yo, why don't you, like this house is like the paint's peeling. Why don't you paint the house? And why don't you let us paint the house? And he's like, it's not my house. This is my aunt's house. This is my sister's house. I can't do anything. But now she's asking you to do something. She's like, it's not your house. Whatever. Less important, Angie, about the most important thing to take away from that interaction was every time she tried to fix something, and she renovated her side of the apartment as much as she could, try to update it. But every time she tried to do something, she was either met with abject defiance or discouragement, to the point where she just was discouraged out of trying. And it made her sick. And my aunt, I think we already had the depression potential there.
Yeah.
But the more that she was discouraged by the people that she sacrificed, that, like, mind you, my aunt didn't have any kids. She raised my cousin Lisa, and she was there for us too, but she didn't have any kids. She never got married. She never went on vacation. She didn't have a boyfriend. She never left the state. She never left the city. She literally never did anything. She gave her entire life, all of her dreams and hopes
To that house. And to the family that she was housing there.
Yeah. And fast forward now to 2015, my grandmother dies. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Now my aunt slipped right into dementia, right? Like, we literally just buried my grandmother, and within a week's time, my aunt's already in rehab because she stopped taking her meds. And my cousin Lisa found her upstairs in her apartment, because her sister was living downstairs in the apartment with my grandmother. She was still technically upstairs. And now she's in the dark, cold. There's no heat there. She's not taking her meds, and she's just not well.
Your grandma was like the glue.
She was the glue because everybody stayed around her. Everybody orbited. She was like the huge planet.
Matriarch, yeah.
The matriarch, and everybody orbited around my grandmother, trying to vie for relevance and favor. Everybody competed for that favor at the expense of their own development. Like, my dad lost his marriage. My uncle had two wives. Both of them died, and the other person he had children with didn't have a relationship. My uncle didn't have any relationship, but he was always fighting with the siblings over something, over the house or something. My aunt, who was taking care of my grandmother, also never had a boyfriend, a husband, any kids.
I mean, how could she if she's taking care of your grandma? She probably thought that was her life. Like,
my dad used to say things to my mom. This is later in life, way later, and he would say like, "Oh, well, my mom always said, are you going to leave me alone? You really going to leave me alone and get married?" And deception, disgrace. Yo,
yeah,
I
dang,
can't speak ill of the
man.
dead, but man, it was crazy. So now my aunt is in full blown dementia by 2016 or so. Nobody has a clue what's going to happen to this house. Nobody's talking about it. All we know is that she owns this house, and we don't know what's going to happen. 2020, she dies. Now, I remember I used to, when I was working details, when I was on the state police, I used to always work details in that area because I love Cambridge. That's my hometown. I was going to have love for it. I was there the other day. But I always used to stop by. So I could stop by and say what's up to my aunt and see how she's doing, visit her. I have several pictures of her and I with me in uniform. She never knew who I was. She thought I was Ashley because me and my cousin Ashley look exactly alike. But I used to always tell my dad and my aunt, like, yo, what you guys going to do with this house? She don't have nobody. It's like, this is it. I said, you guys can't let this house just fall into the hands of the courts. We have to do something. Involve the children. You know how it is in our culture. You're a Timun. You're a kid. What do you know? Let the Gumuns talk. I was like, all right, well, I'm talking stuff that you don't understand. Okay, like I'm trying to tell you. Fast forward 2020, my aunt dies. We don't know what's going on. There's back taxes on the house. There are repairs on the house. Now, mind you, maybe a year before this happened, there's a porch that conjoined the two sides of the house, the two apartments. I remember my cousin Lisa and our cousins all used to play on this porch because we had no yard. And that porch was falling apart. And they pissed off the neighbors, and the neighbors reported them to the city. And the city is like, yo, you got to fix this. It's a historical part of the building.
Oh, my goodness.
So they dropped like $70,000 to fix this porch because they had to. It's all based on survival.
It's so funny that we didn't have money to fix the house when it was like baby problems. But now that we have to, we're going to find $70,000.
Well, you know why? Because before, when my aunt was asking them to not pay, just
Maintenance.
aside so that she could do the maintenance.
Right.
It was too much. And it was inconsequential because they didn't have to go anywhere. They could remain defiant and stay there. If somebody had asked you when you were renting to leave or do or whatever, if somebody had asked you to do something, your landlord asked you to do something, you didn't do it, and there was a you wouldn't really do that. They knew that they could get away with that. Now they have to fix the porch because the city's after them. If they don't, they could be a violation and whatever. They wouldn't have anywhere to live.
Right.
So back taxes. They don't have the money. I think they honestly, if I'm being honest with you, I think they did have the money for the back taxes. They all would have pulled together. But then my dad and my aunt didn't want to do nothing. Now, mind you, my dad, when my mom left him, he never remarried. He never redated. He never anything.
Didn't go nowhere, didn't go on vacation. So where's your money going?
And bro, like all the money, like
Saved.
dad, he had, like he helped with my braces. Those big expenses were like literally like once every 5-10 years, if that. This is where it's going to get serious right now. Okay. Brace yourselves. This is where it hurts. So we end up finding out after my aunt dies that there was a will. And she wrote, and my uncle Rika, he showed us a will. And it specifically said, I think he wrote, he's the executor. Tunzi, which is her little sister, is written into the will. I explicitly write out of the will, my father and the uncle, like her brother that basically bought the house and dipped on her.
She stood on business.
Now, I was sitting here fighting with my uncle because I'm trying to be like, yo, this is an institution. Do you understand what this is going to do for our bloodline if you let us all get involved? Bro, like we can keep this house, we'll fix it. I'm looking at contractors, like I'm trying to find a way to do it.
And like you, kids, cousins, whatever, like the next generation under, were already grown. So it wasn't like you guys were little. Like you all could have been pulled into the situation.
Right. But the way that they saw it, they didn't see it that way.
Yeah, they still saw you as little kids.
Yeah. So fast forward, man, my dad tried to do everything he could to sabotage, or we had to try, because they had to sell the house.
Of course your dad was trying to sabotage. He wasn't in the will.
He wasn't in the will. He's like, fuck you. I think my dad was on it. I think he was low-key butthurt. He was like, damn. I thought that, because my dad he had said to my mom at one point when Tata Agnes dies, this house is for me. Everything that she has is for me. Literally said that because he thought he was written into the will, just to figure out that he wasn't, because he was being an asshole. My aunt didn't write this will in like 2010 or 2012 or 2013 before she got sick. She wrote this shit in 1997.
Because she knew they weren't going to change, Vlad.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, watch this. She's like, I might die tomorrow. Let me go hurry up and do this real quick.
Listen, that was a big FU from the grave, right? And I can't even fault her for that. But what's disappointing about the way things ended up, we had to sell this house. And because the house was in such disrepair, we had to sell it it was never going to be at a loss because there was no mortgage, right? But I think we sold the house for like $2 million or something like that. The house is worth, somebody else bought it for that little bit of chump change. Now the house is worth at least $6 million. Yeah. It's a 4-family house.
That's what I'm saying. No, we looked it up. It's like 5.8, whatever. Yeah. Ridiculous, Vlad.
I was in Cambridge the other day and I drove by it. And I always, when I visited my dad and my aunt, I'd always get sad.
You know what I think's going to happen, Vlad? Eventually, when you blow up big time, Vlad the Bull, you're going to go an MC coach, embrace coach, you finna buy that house.
I receive it.
I feel it. It's going to be your legacy here on earth to buy that house and have you, your cousin Lisa, and Steve running around that porch. That's fixed now, BT dubs. Let the kids, the new generation of kids run around. And it might not be tomorrow. It might be when, Lito gets older, but it's going to happen. I feel it.
I feel like that would be such a way, it would send a message to the family, to the bloodline. Because right now, like, they say that men who are responsible anyway, who are responsible stewards of their households, are not thinking about tomorrow. They're thinking about a century from now. And I'm thinking about a century from now, what can my son and his grandsons point to and say, this is where the bloodline took a shift, this is where the culture took a shift, where this is where something, it was going down like this and it became an upward momentum. Buying that house would be my way of telling future Louisins that nothing is unredeemable, but everything is impossible if you're trying to do it within a silo.
Yeah.
Because the reason why all of that stuff happened, Angie, is because we all trying to do it by ourselves. Everybody's in a corner saying, no, this is my corner. No, this is my corner. And you can't tell me what to do. Now look at the consequence. My father was in his 80s. Not like 30s, 40s, 50s. You think that's like a late blossomer, right? Yeah. My dad was in his 80s when he had to get his first apartment by himself. And he didn't even do that by himself. My cousin found it for him last minute.
Your dad was being taken care of by all the women in his life. his whole life. Literally. He left Haiti with your mama. So imagine if he didn't have your mama, he probably wouldn't have left. Then moved into his sister's house. He's been taken care of his whole life till he was 80. Then he had to fend for himself because he didn't respect the women in his life.
You know, my dad, such a good point. My dad, he always used to say stuff like, that's why I don't like really talking to him about, and he doesn't really want to talk to you about anything. He just really wants to talk to you about surface level stuff. My dad has a list of questions about my son, about the house.
And it's the same questions every time. Yeah, I'm still good.
My dad's always asking questions like, Vlad, do you have a lot of leaves in your backyard? I'm like, it's winter. No.
Oh, he's like, I got to go back to the winter list. I had my spring questions.
17.
I had my fall questions.
I was supposed to write a note to jump ahead. But whenever I ask him about, oh, Dad, how's your apartment? Vlad's, this piece of junk. And that offends me because my dad and my dad hasn't told me much about his life.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do know, not from him, actually, from my mom and the people who knew my dad's family in Haiti, was that they were poor, dirt poor. My dad had clothes. My grandmother would take the clothes, the riprap, like the rags from my aunt's clothes, stitch them and
make them boy clothes.
And make them boy clothes. That's how poor they were. My mom would sleep on dirt floors. There are people right now in Gaza, in Haiti, in Cuba, in the Dominican Republic, around the world. There are people here. Bro, he still lives in Cambridge. All you got to do is walk across Central Square into an alleyway and you're going to see an encampment. There are people who literally don't have anywhere to live. You have an apartment that you can pay for. You got a pension. You got money.
You would think that he'd be a little bit more grateful that he's not, 15 again, sleeping on the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. And it hurts because there's two losses there, right? Like I'm watching my dad these are supposed to be his golden years and he has the means to live them, but he doesn't know how to because he doesn't know why they should be his golden years.
Yeah.
There's so much that was unresolved to him. And every time I drive by that house, I'm like, damn, we fumbled the bag heavy. And I think there are a lot of people listening to this and they're wondering, man, if I don't get my stuff together, if me and my spouse don't get on the same page, or if I don't change the way that I see how money works in my life, I'm going to fumble the bag. I'm going to chase it, get it, and fumble it.
And it's crazy because to that point, you don't know when the bag is going to be in your vicinity for you to fumble it. So what has to happen? You have to stay ready so you don't got to get ready.
Right.
Like be ready for those opportunities if they happen. Like I feel like right now, if something similar to that happened in my family, the six of us, because we communicate and we like each other and we do come together when we have to, we would be able to put our finances together and save the family farm or whatever.
For real.
But that's because our parents kind of instilled that in us. Like your siblings are all you have. Like spouses come and go, and we talked about the sibling episode. But spouses come and go, and hopefully they come and they stay, but you never know. And your siblings are the ones that know your life history, your birth story, like everything. Be there for each other and work together for that legacy that you said, right? And I know I've told you that you need to watch Hamilton, but in Hamilton, a legacy is planting, what is a legacy? It's planting the fruits of a tree that you'll never get to see. So, it's like laying that foundation, planting those seeds for the future generations to have that shade from what you planted.
Oh, and that's a key point too that you made about that analogy with the shade. The shade, when you're in a hot day, right, and you sit under some shade and you find that reprieve,
that comfort.
It's relief. It's relaxing. It's refreshing. And otherwise, if there's no shade, you're just sitting out in the elements, the dead,
exposed.
And E.T. said this. Eric Thomas. He said, whether you want to or not, you are going to be exposed. Your life is going to be exposed to the elements, and the shelter that you have from the elements is going to be largely dependent on the decisions you make. And when I look at my aunt and my dad, and listen, this shit is silly. Can I tell you how silly this shit is?
Say it.
My dad is living right here. My aunt is living right here.
They don't have coffee?
My dad's always at my aunt's house saying that I got to check on her, make sure she's alive, even though she don't need you to check on her. She's a grown-ass woman, and she's fine.
Yeah.
But whenever you say, but they're always complaining about how much money they spend on for a one-bedroom in Cambridge, Massachusetts,
it's like $3K?
It's like $3,500 for a one-bedroom in an old apartment building.
I bet. Location.
Location is everything, right? So they're over here. My dad's always at her house, but then and they're always complaining about how much money they spend and what their expenses are because it's the first time they've had to do it. But then when you tell them, suggest, hey, one day I said, why don't the two of you, instead of wasting money on rent that you don't have to, why don't and you guys need to be next to each other because that's all you got. You never had no marriages, no friends, no nothing. Why don't you combine your finances, buy a house, maybe you could live on one, maybe, or even a 2-family house you live. My dad's like, I don't know what she's doing. I don't want to live with her. And I'm like, but you're always at her house.
You're always at her house and you owe, bro. Then you don't got to go to her house every day. You're just already there.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
What I do get is that unresolved trauma creates unresolved problems. And they just keep stacking higher and higher and higher in your life. And when we look at families who don't have a strong history of financial wealth, history is a part of it, right? Especially in the Black community. We already know why Black people are in a disproportionate position financially, but it doesn't mean just because we're at a disadvantage doesn't mean that it's impossible.
Yeah, that you don't have to stay there.
Yeah, there are plenty of Black families I know, like our realtor, bro, like they living good. Like there are people but you have to have literacy. The problem isn't, because redlining does not exist in Massachusetts. You can own whatever you want as long as you pay your taxes. Because you could say the same thing, like it's never going to be this. I'm never going to have access to buy investments or anything like that because they keep trying to hold us down. Like, nah, bro. Like I have an investment property.
This is Massachusetts.
This is Massachusetts. All of my friends, like my best friend David, my best friend Mahad, all of us have investment properties, and it's not because anybody gave us money. Like we had to work and earn money, right? When I was at the state police and I was really, really like, I put all of my resources into this and the money's good, but the fulfillment, I'm bankrupt in that department. What am I going to do? And so I started looking at ways to make my money work for me because I needed to become less dependent on the job. So I think what happens to a lot of people, Angie, is that they don't want to make no sacrifices, right? Like they don't want to live in the basement.
And that's what it takes, though.
Yeah.
That's what it takes, especially if you don't come from money and you're not relying on mommy and papi to finance your dreams. You know, it's like you got to do it yourself. But yeah, it's sacrifice, literally what it is, and discipline.
Yeah. And vision, too, right? I read an article the other day that said there are a lot more millennials now living with their parents because of the high cost of living.
No, be smart. So I'm not against people living with their parents, but be smart. Like, what are you doing in that time? Are you learning something new to kind of move you up later in life? Are you saving your money because mommy and papi aren't charging you market rate for rent or living there? You know, it's like, it's not like I'm living with mommy and papi. I got all this money. Let me go on vacation every other month. Like, be smart. Be smart.
Listen, man, I know people who've got car loans up the wazoo. There was this guy, all right, I'll give you this example. This guy I used to work with at the airport. And one day I'm walking in and he's like, and his hair's all disheveled and flapping in the air and he looks all defeated. And I was like, hey man, you good? And he looks at me, he's like, you like it here? And I said, I didn't know at the time how much I'd grow to not like it there because of the people that worked there in management. But I said, nah, it's all right, I guess. How about you? He's like, I'm fucking miserable, man. I'm like, why? What's up? He's like, yeah, miserable. I was like, what's up? What's good with you? Bro, Angie. And I worked with this guy, mind you, in another barracks like 4 assignments ago. This guy had 2 gym memberships. He had 2 jet skis. When we got to the airport, he had a Ford Raptor. You know what a Ford Raptor is?
Yeah.
Okay. You know how much a Ford Raptor costs?
No, probably a lot of money.
$90,000.
Oh,
yeah, $90,000. Okay. And then he's like, oh, shoot, we got all the overtime we can have. Let me buy a Corvette. And I'm like, yo, bro, are you okay?
Not 2 jet skis. I'm still stuck on jet skis because you only got 1 booty. Why you need 2 jet skis?
Apparently, this man's got expendable booty cheeks because he could put his butt on a jet ski at his job, on his other jet ski, in his Raptor, and in his Corvette. This dude's got like expendable long extension booty cheeks, man. And it's crazy to me. And I don't know how that ended up working out for him, but I remember looking at him, I was like, dude, that's crazy. There were guys that I worked with that were literally a slave.
Yeah.
Were enslaved to the potential.
To their debt.
To the overtime. And that's the other thing, too. I think a lot of, to the point we made earlier about people what was that?
Living above their means.
People living above their means. I'm so grateful for the state police for so many different reasons. I would not be where I am without that experience. The development that I got from there was crucial, right, Angie? Because I worked with so many guys who took that job just so they could work details and overtime. And there are guys that I knew, like right there was this guy that went out on injury before I went out on injury and got hurt. And I was feeling some type of way. I'm going to be honest with you. They came forward in our unit. They're like, hey, we got to start like basically a little collection plate, like a GoFundMe for this dude because he's got 3 kids and he used to crush 5 details a week. And I'm like, so where's my GoFundMe? First of all, where's my GoFundMe? Because I wasn't hurt at the time, but I'm like, eventually I go hurt. I'm like, ain't nobody started GoFundMe for me. But
do y'all need a GoFundMe? Because I thought the police covered it because you got injured on the job.
Well, they do. But when you go out retired, if you're injured in the line of duty, you can't get better. And they have to, and you take a medical retirement, they only give you 72% of your pay.
Oh, gotcha.
So if you're living on 150% of your pay and going back down to 72.
Yeah. So, and that's why you need to live below your means and save and be ready for that. So we don't got to start GoFundMes.
I saw the writing on the wall when I got hurt the first time, right? And we sold our condo. We bought an investment property. Julie paid off her car and I sold my car, my Mazda. I love my Mazda. I still miss it every day, but I sold it. And I bought an older car.
You got your family car.
Now we got our family car. Yo, listen, I don't need to be flashy and funky. Who am I got to impress? I'm not even on the market. I'm not going to be on the market. I am permanently off the market. Who do I need to impress? Myself, right? And I'm fine driving my 2012 Honda Pilot. I love my Honda Pilot.
Oh, listen.
Drive that thing until the wheels fall off.
We had a 2010 Chevy Equinox. And again, the only reason we got rid of it was because it broke down. And we had to get a new car. And it broke down on our way to Disney. We'll do an episode about that whole situation. But we had to buy a car while we were in Florida. And granted, we didn't buy a brand new car. We bought a used car, but it's still new to us. But instead of spending all our savings, we got a car loan. But I'm going to pay that thing off in a year. I'm claiming that right now.
Listen, you got to.
Because I don't want to have to pay interest, do all that. It's stupid. I hate having a car payment. It's so dumb.
There's good debt and there's bad debt.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about what some examples are for the audience of what good debt is versus bad debt?
I would say good debt and investment property. That's good debt because it's going to return. Your ROI is bigger than what you spend on it. I would say anything like to develop yourself. Student loans, if you can pay for school, do it. But if you're taking out a loan to pay for school, again, it's going to return dividends, ROI. So I think those are examples of good debt. Bad debt, credit card debt, bad.
Really?
The interest rates on a credit
bad.
card is like 30% or some crazy number. So pay off your credit cards every month. Avoid that credit card debt. You shouldn't be spending more than 49% of whatever your credit limit is so you can keep your credit score high. It's some kind of formula. Look it up online.
And you know it makes me itch when people talk about, oh, my credit cards are maxed out. I'm like,
again, something that makes me sweat.
every 6 months. I haven't done it in a while, actually, but every 6 months when I was trying to build my credit and get it like to pristine condition, like the absolute best it could possibly be, I would, and I learned this in my financial literacy course that I took, I would ask for credit.
Oh, I do that all the time too.
Bro, you got
to.
I was trying to explain this to Julie, and she was like, why do you keep asking for increases? Like, I only have like a $5,000 limit. I'm like, but your credit's like a $750 or whatever it is. But I don't want to, I keep it low so that I don't have, so I know that I have a limit. I'm like, okay, you're looking at it wrong, because if I have a $5,000 credit limit and I can get up to $5,000 of merch and put that on there.
You're maxing it out. Now your credit score is going down.
Like, you should be nowhere higher than like 10%. That 10% is very uncomfortable. Like I've never been at 10% of my credit utilization. So you actually increase your credit utilization or decrease your credit utilization by increasing the amount of your revolving debt. So if I have 3 credit cards and they all have $10,000 of a credit limit, I have a $30,000 credit limit. But if I only carry a $3,000 debt between all 3 of them, I'm only at 3%.
Right.
And which means when companies, banks and lenders, if I'm applying for a loan, if I need, because you never know when you're going to need one, and I want to get more real estate, whatever, they see, oh man, you pay your money on time, you keep your credit limit low, you live beyond. It's just like insurance. They want to see that you can live within your means.
That you're not a liability.
Like, they don't like to deal with people that are high risks, and they will do business with you.
Oh yeah,
they're going to get their money.
Facts. They know that you were going to pay it.
But they're going to do business with you at a level at which makes them comfortable. So that means if your credit is crap because you keep maxing your stuff out buying Air Jordans and Corvettes and all this stupid shit, then fine, that's cool. But your interest rate is going to be at like 35% because we don't trust you.
Yeah, another way to save money is to shop around. So when we bought our car, we bought it with the dealership, but then we refinanced with our bank. So we were able to bring our interest rate down, call the companies that you do business with, call your cell phone company, call any subscriptions that you have and see if they can lower that, or really think about the subscriptions you have. Are you really watching Hulu or Netflix? Do you got time for that? Get rid of it.
I ain't gonna touch that.
Especially now that Netflix went up to I don't even know how much money. Cancel it. Or do what our family does. We do family share. So one person pays for one thing, the other one pays for another one. We get free Hulu through our phone. So then we just share the passwords.
Bro, I thought we were the only person that did that stuff. So we have revolving, and please don't cancel my account. But
Right.
we have, right? If
No,
you're
I'll
listening,
show you. It's so funny.
we have a so one of us in the family has Hulu. Beth, she has Disney Max. And
Oh
all that
yeah,
other
Disney
stuff,
Plus.
and HBO Max.
All our profiles. You see, so everybody's on there.
everybody's got their own stuff.
Yeah, and you
Right.
just log in. Yep.
So yeah, we do that, and we just added you to our family plan.
Yes. So talk to your friends, see who's saving money. So we used to pay $120 for me and Wallace's phone plan, but then we added ourselves, or Vlad was like, hey, I should join my family plan. So now we're paying like $55.
What and what it is that I realized,
Community.
Yeah, community, dude.
Mhm.
You, I forgot who said it. It was in that song. You listen to Jay-Z at all?
No, but go ahead and
What was that
share it. Our people do.
The story of OJ. Right?
Okay.
He's like, you want to know how Jewish people got control of all of everything, all the property in America is
Mhm.
credit, right? And he said, you want to know what's more important than throwing away money in a strip club? Credit. And they build together. Like, dude, you see all these communities. I'll tell you one thing: the people, a culture that I really, really admire are my Asian folks. My folks who come from the South Pacific and Asia. Chinese people don't play with their money. They put that stuff together.
And in the community, so they're spending their money with each other. No, that's very smart. No, and I'm very grateful. Wallace and I were like, oh my God, not only is Alana going to school, but now we're saving money on our phone bill. It's amazing. So yes, talk to your people, see how y'all can come together. And obviously there's a level of trust, right? Like Vlad knows that I'm finna pay him every month. It's not like we just met yesterday and he's like, oh, I don't know, so yeah, who do you trust? Build together, talk to each other, and again, share like your problems, not only your joys, but also your problems. Like, you don't know who can help you unless you verbalize that, like, yo, I'm struggling with this. And he's like, oh my gosh, why are you struggling with this? Like, I literally can help you out. And it's like reciprocal. Like, you share stuff and like we're there for you. So definitely just be open, like have those conversations.
And trust is the foundation of when money has to exchange hands, right? I remember when I was younger, me and my best friend David, we started driving. We had our cars. We'd spend hours at the car. Stuff you do when you don't have kids.
Right.
We'd work a long day. We go out. We get some beers, and then we'd wash our cars and we spend that thing detailing that thing. And so one day, man, I was giving him a hard time about some gas money, and he said, "Yo, full stop. Don't ever let money come between you and us again. Okay." You got me sometimes, I got you sometimes. We're not going to be nickel and diming each other.
No, exactly. And it always ends up evening it out at the end. Like, I'm not here like, oh, let me send you a Venmo because you owe me $3.85 because we split some cheese fries and you owe me $3.85.
Yo, do you know anybody, all of us, for those of us who are listening, we all have that one friend or that one family member, man, that's like, hey, I need my own bill when we go out. I'm like, yo, bro.
Who cares?
Come on, dog. Like, come on, bro.
Because at the end of the day, if it's that deep and you're really like on a tight budget, let's say, be honest and just say that. Because guess what? I'll get you today. You could get me tomorrow. Like, I'm not going to go to a restaurant and be like, actually, that Diet Coke belongs here.
You say it's funny, but it actually happens, though.
It's cringe. It's cringe.
It's mad cringe.
It's cringe. Don't even tell me to go with you nowhere if you're going to be talking like that.
We can't do that. Collaboration is at the heart of progress, right?
Yeah.
And just like I was trying to implore my uncle to involve us in the process so that we can, I'm sure that even people in our family, cousins, whomever, who weren't terribly interested in real estate or investments, they would become interested because it would bring the family together. And I came to learn later that his hands were tied. He had to execute what was in the will. If Tatagalin had more literacy, if she had more exposure to this and education on this, I or somebody, or maybe somebody, one of her siblings, should have implored her to create a living trust so that when the house, whatever happens to the house, it's protected from probate. You don't want your stuff getting tied up in probate because guess what? The town,
you trust the government that much?
The government don't care. They take their money. Listen, real estate is the foundation of wealth in this country. Historically, it always has been. When we talk about disadvantages, when Black folks were redlined out of communities, they couldn't build, they couldn't leverage. They had nothing to leverage to start their businesses, which is why when other people could start their businesses because they have generations of wealth and real estate and assets getting passed down, like, bro, don't even get me started on it. But that's how you start it. So like Angie said, man, find who you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody, just because they family, just because you skin folk don't mean they your kin folk.
Yeah.
Okay, not everybody is great with their money.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you got to tell a family member like, hey, listen, bro, I want to build with you, but you don't want to build with you. So every time I let you borrow 50 cents, next day you can't ask me for $4. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and every time we go out, you want to tell me that actually I didn't eat that, so I'm not going to pay.
money problems don't solve money problems, all right?
No.
Organization and discipline solves money problems.
I feel like this could be a whole other episode too, Vlad.
Oh, yeah.
We could talk about money forever. Maybe another episode that we can do is the whole real estate
Yeah.
market
man,
and and landlord 101, because this landlord right here.
Hey, yo, listen. Yeah, we could say that in another episode. One thing I'll say about landlording is that it is not for everybody. Landlording is not for everybody. If you have a difficult time with confrontation, I would not suggest becoming a landlord unless you know you can grow through that.
Yeah.
Some people will try to play you, you know.
Oh, I bet.
And I've always, since we became landlords, I do most of the managing. I mean, Julie's kind of, you know, and she's had to step up a couple of times in my absence, but I make it clear I'm fair, but I'm not a fool. And listen, homeboy, once a trooper, always a trooper. You're not going to play me. Right.
You're going to put on your trooper hat and go show up.
Don't tempt me. I might get in trouble for it, but listen, because the way you see it is I had to transition out of thinking that because we lived in our investment property for like 4 years, that it was my home. So when we moved out, I thought it was still my home. So I was really, really micromanaging until I realized, like, yo, bro, this is an investment. So it's not going to look pristine as it was when it was your home. But as long as it's functional and reasonable. Listen, I have a clear, hard and fast rule. Don't bring no crazy people in my house. Don't bring the police in my house. Don't destroy my house. I don't think that's a lot to ask for. It's real simple not to do those things unless you're self-destructive.
Right, no. And I think if you find the right tenants, it's worth it because they're going to treat your house like respectable people are going to treat where they live as if it was their own, even though it's not, because they're living there. Like nobody wants to live in a crappy place, you know? Reasonable.
How to live in a non-crappy place. We have great tenants, and we are very blessed to have those tenants. And when you have good tenants, you gotta try to make it palatable for them for the stay. And yeah, man, we try to take care of them, bro. Yeah, so much to learn.
That'll be a whole other episode, Vlad. But let's wrap this one up.
So what is the final thought? What do you have to say to folks who are trying to figure their finances out? They have some grandiose plans, but they don't know where to start.
I would say trust and communication. If you're a couple, talk to your partner. Like, what are your long-term goals? Like, what are our short-term goals? Set a budget. Stick within your budget. I would also say live within your means. That's like the big thing. And I mean, Vlad's family lesson, live within your means. Don't fumble the bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do not fumble the bag because even if that bag is heavy, find somebody else to help carry that.
Someone you trust.
I would also say, I'd implore if you're listening to this and you don't know where to start, find a financial planner, find a financial advisor. There are planners, like our financial planner, he's one of those people that he already gets paid full time for his job. And so he has to find X amount of clients. And so we get literally free financial advice. And every step of the way in the last 3 or 4 years, we've consulted him about what moves we're making. So find a financial planner. Even if you got to pay for it, it's an investment because the people who are wise know that they are not wise at all. A wise man is one who knows that he's not wise at all. So you got to have a coach in every step of there's nothing wrong with having a coach and having some more extra direction, right? The Bible says that plans without counsel fail, but plans with great counsel succeed. So get a financial coach, get a financial planner. There's so much free game. Your
job might have some resources too. So if your job offers you like a 401k, you can get financial services through that institution. So we meet with someone from Fidelity because that's where my Roth and 401k is with, and it's free. You get like 2 or 3 sessions a year free included. They can talk you down, like, are you on track to retire? How much are you going to get in retirement because you're saving X amount? Do your company match if your company has a match? Yeah, don't leave money on the table.
Yeah, why leave money on the table? Somebody else gonna grab it. Right? And my thing is like this too. The last thing I'll say is financial retirement vehicles are not just for people who are working 9 to 5. You can start an investment account. I recommend retirement date index funds. Index funds are a phenomenal investment. You just park your money. You don't even have to think about it.
And this is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice, but look into it. I mean, I took a course on it myself because I didn't know what I was doing. But there are just so many vehicles out there. Just because you're not a 9 to 5 doesn't mean you don't have to have an investment account. Like there's so many things you can park your money in. But that old school of stuffing money in a mattress. We're not on that in 2025,
No.
right? You need to get rid of that mentality because money is a vehicle. It is not the end all be all. It is not permanent, but the consequences for not knowing how to use your money may be permanent.
Yeah. When you know better, you do better. So let's do better.
Yeah, let's do better. Listen, thank you, Angie, for coming through, stopping through. You know what I mean? I'm excited about our next episode. And if you found some value in this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. If you're
Down
listening
here,
on
over
YouTube,
there,
like,
wherever.
subscribe, and share to our YouTube channel, Roots and Rhythm Pod on Instagram, the Roots and Rhythm Podcast on YouTube. And share this within your circles, beyond your circles, and within your network because we're trying to get this thing up to 10,000 subscribers, yo.
He keeps upping the numbers. First it was 1,000,
It's 10.
then it's 5, now it's 10. So yes, help
You're not dreaming big, you're not dreaming big enough. If it's not absolutely ridiculous and unreasonable, it's not big enough of a goal. So
Yeah, send us 10,000. Send us a DM or a comment on the video. What episode ideas you have. I know the next one we're gonna do is politics in relationships because that was a suggestion. That was a suggestion from our live show. So yes. Well, I'm La Cyber Mommy Angie. Thank you for joining us.
it's your boy, you're Vlad, your number one embrace coach, rocking the Michael Jackson shirt. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson.
R.I.P.
16 years since we lost the King of Pop. Still remembering you, baby. The best ever. It's your boy, Vlad the Bull. La Cyber Mommy Angie. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay